All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning as we are at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for today's Craftsman Truck Series race, the North Carolina Education Lottery 200, a race that has been postponed multiple days, was supposed to originally run Friday night at about 7 p.m. Eastern, and here we are Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, morning of both the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 to finally get this race in. This is going to be a triple header day of racing across the United States between Charlotte and Indianapolis. We will have full flag-to-flag coverage for today's Indianapolis 500 immediately following today's truck race. Hopefully the truck race gets done before the Indy 500 starts, which it should. I would expect that the truck race should be done around noon Eastern or so, and we will be live at 12:30 p.m. Eastern for the Indianapolis 500, 110th running of which. And we've got an all-star field for this race here today. Travis Pastrana running for Dodge Ram. I believe his first truck start of the season. No, his second truck start of the season. He did run at Daytona. That's right, back in February, but this is a mile-and-a-half track start for Travis. Unfortunately, obviously, the passing of Kyle Busch, he was supposed to be in the field for this race, and actually, he would have been the pole sitter after dominating and winning at Dover last week. Corey Day will fill in for him. Day had a top 5 last night in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, which was rain shortened at around 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the field, another Cup regular, Shane Van Gisbergen, who we don't usually see run ovals in the Truck Series. It's going to be interesting to see how he does here. I believe this is his Truck Series oval debut. He ran his truck debut at Watkins Glen just a couple weeks ago on the road course. Connor Zilic, triple duty this weekend. He led some laps last night in the O'Reilly race, also had a top 5. He'll be starting in the 24th place spot. Outside of those highlights in the field here today, we'll go through the full field starting lineup before the drop of the green flag as trucks are already on the track and we'll be getting set to go green here shortly. Corey Day, as mentioned already, the pole sitter. Lane Riggs, who comes in second in points, will start in second on the outside of row number 1. Row 2 will be the points leader, Caden Honeycutt, winner at Watkins Glen a couple weeks ago alongside Ty Majeski. Brandon Jones, double duty this weekend. O'Reilly Series competitor. Last night crashed out, looking for redemption today. Him and Leland Honeyman will take row 3. Row 4 for Christian Eckes and Chandler Smith. And rounding out the top 10, Jake Garcia and Corey LaJoy in row 5. Stuart Friese and Justin Haley, row 6. William Sawalich, Ross Chastain, another triple duty competitor this weekend is Chastain in row 7. Brendan Queen, Gio Ruggiero in row number 8. And don't have enough time to get through the rest of it as the green flag is in the air and we are racing. We'll go through that full field starting lineup, or at least the lineup in general, as we get a couple laps into this race today, because we are roaring our way through turns 1 and 2. Already several rows of 3 wide as they get through the first turn. And despite the fact that there isn't really any weather pending by way of rain this morning, which is good to see, drivers are aggressive right off the get-go. There was a sense of urgency from when they went back racing yesterday after that long 4+ hour rain delay in the O'Reilly race, knowing that they were probably not going to get the entire race in. There was a mist and fog that had rolled in, shortened the race right after the end of stage number 2. And to make the race official this morning, if for whatever reason we get a pop-up shower, we only have to get the lap to lap 60, and that won't be very long, obviously, from now. But again, weather should be clear for this morning. Corey Day looking to retake the lead from Caden Honeycutt, who led the opening lap of the race. Big-time slide job by Corey Day. As he slides up, he was clear of Honeycutt. Both trucks have to lift to keep it off of each other and the outside wall. And Lane Riggs from 3rd place entering turn 3 will take the race lead on his wayward through turns 1 and 2. So 2 different drivers have led the first 2 laps of the race today. Christian Eckes slides into 2nd as Day and Honeycutt fall to 3rd and 4th. 2 truck towards the back of the pack. Luke Baldwin having some problems. He got extremely loose. As Fox cuts back to that camera off the exit of turn 2, loses several positions. Not sure what was going on there. We stayed green, though. He's able to hold on to his truck enough. Had some great racing in the O'Reilly race for what little green flag racing that we did see. Between the laps ran under caution because of the mist/rain on a few occasions yesterday, both before the 4-hour rain delay and post 4-hour rain delay. On top of that, we had a few crashes as well in the second stage, 3 of which in a 45-lap stage 2 led to us only having about 30 green flag laps out of the 90 that were ran. So we didn't actually see much racing, but the little bit that we did on the restarts, it was action packed. And we're seeing that already in the first 5 laps of today's truck race. Our stage splits for the truck afternoon is 30, 30, and 74 to take us to a 134 lap, 200-mile race distance. Lane Riggs now has led the last 4 laps of this race. Christian Eckes sits in second with Caden Honeycutt third, Ty Majeski fourth, and Brandon Jones still in fifth. Leland Honeyman in the Friesen Hallmark truck, the 62, having a good start in sixth. Chandler Smith in seventh, Jake Garcia eighth, and Corey LaJoy rounding out the top 10. 11th is Stuart Friesen with Justin Haley 12th, William Sawalch 13th, Ross Chastain 14th, and Brendan Queen 15th. 16th, Gio Ruggiero with Ben Rhodes in 17th, Grant Enfinger 18th, Tanner Gray 19th, and Chris Wright in 20th. 21st, Tyler Ankrum, Connor Jones in 22nd, Dawson Sutton 23rd, Connor Zilch 24th, and Spencer Boyd 25th. Frankie Muniz in 26th, Andres Perez 27th, Daniel Hemrick 28th, Travis Pastrana 29th, and Minnie Tyrell in 30th. Cole Butcher 31st, Luke Baldwin 32nd, Josh Ream 33rd, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 34th, and we got Shane Van Gisbergen 35th with Timmy Hill still 36th. And actually, I don't think our leaderboard is all the way right, because I think Connor Zillich is a little further up the leaderboard than what I just read. So it might have something going on there. Under caution for the first time today at lap 7.
First time. So the smoke, as I believe you had one truck had problems towards the back end of the field with the yellow coming out with Lane Riggs out in front. And I believe it was Shane Van Gisbergen who went for a slide in turns 1 and 2.
Oh, there you have it. SVG with a spin.
Early in this race, so evidently the truck wasn't to his liking. He was on 34th before he started. Oh, and no wonder. We talked, and it gets loose, and things happen in a hurry.
Yeah, did a nice job, as we see this from Travis Pastrana's number 25 Ram truck. Just happens so often in Charlotte, Mike. You get in, try to give it just a bit more wheel, and it just snaps sideways on you and try to save it.
And just like Cole Trickle, he drove right into the smoke and came out the other side, and nothing was there. I bet you that was exciting, Travis.
Pastrana's been able to navigate it.
Like that. Energy. I think he wakes up in the morning and just wants to go race something or jump something. He's a crazy cat.
Or jump out of something. So the pit's going to be open this time. However, most of the leaders are going to elect to stay out.
I don't see any takers for this little stuff. But here comes Majeski as soon as I say that.
Majeski was running at about the 13th spot at the time of the caution, and he's going to be the first of the front runners.
He started up front and had fallen back outside the top 10, so obviously he didn't like something about that truck.
Yeah, and I'd anticipate, we'll see, obviously the tires going outside Majeski's truck, but would anticipate an adjustment of some form right here. He had lost 9 spots, Michael. You mentioned how he fell outside the team 10, so
up at the start of the
race. Yep, looks like maybe making an adjustment to something with the shock, maybe the Packer adjustment in there. Might be hitting the racetrack too much. That's what you see a lot of times when they're doing that, or it's not low enough.
Dawson Sutton on pit road. Here's Luke Baldwin. They're going to check out the damage from his scrub against the wall. Baldwin's a lap down.
And an opportunistic caution for Luke right there to be able to work on that truck and make it good. Working our first caution of the race in the North Carolina Education Lottery 200. We'll come on back for the restart right after this.
All righty. See here, in the middle of getting the chat poll going, I had it open during the last Truck Series stream we did on Friday night, but this is a completely different stream, so I didn't realize that it wasn't up until just now. So we got Lane Riggs, Caden Honeycutt, and I'll throw Corey Day in there for an option for you to vote for who you think is going to win today's race since he started on pole. Shout out to those of you tuning in here early this morning. We got Dean Tate, Joe Rochester, Matthew Dorter, Bruno, Frank Powers, Kenneth Clark. We got my dad in the stream. Good morning, Dad. That's it for all I see at the moment. Thanks for tuning in. Obviously, very early. West Coast viewers, it's going to be a 7 a.m. start time this morning, so very, very early. Not as early as what it was looking like if they would have ran yesterday morning. They originally scheduled that for 8 a.m. That was going to be interesting. I was up and ready for that one. Busy, busy day. 3 races. Truck race for visual purposes still on Fox Sports 1 this morning. The Indianapolis 500 will be on your local Fox affiliate and Prime Video for the Coke 600 later tonight. Start time 12:30 p.m. Eastern for the Indy 500. I believe drop of the green flag for that's just after 12:45 Eastern, and then the Coke 600 start time just after 6 p.m. Eastern. They'll be dropping the green flag for that. Catherine Legg doing the double this weekend, running both the Indy 500 and the Coke 600. Of course, qualifying was rained out yesterday for the Coca-Cola 600, so unfortunately she'll be starting at the rear end of the field there. But Indianapolis, I believe she starts 26 today out of 33 cars. Trying to become the first female to run the double, and the first non-American to do so as well. Catherine Legg, an English woman, making history. Only 2 drivers have ever completed both races. Tony Stewart and Robbie Gordon when attempting the double, and I believe she is the 8th driver to attempt the Indy 500 Coke 600 double as well. So completing both races in and of itself an accomplishment. She's got a chance to finish on the lead lap, I believe, in the Indy 500. Knowing that she's in Live Fast equipment in the Cup Series race, I don't think it's very likely she finishes on the lead lap there unless we get a ton of cautions. So we got Lane Riggs out in front of the field here for this next restart. Christian Eckes in second, Caden Honeycutt third, Ty Majeski fourth, Brandon Jones fifth, and Leland Honeyman in sixth.
Now, that team's not smoking, let it go for it. Leland Honeyman also has some damage on the backside of his Hallmark Freeze number 62 truck. However, he too is elected to stay out and try to continue his battle as he is running in the top 10. Getting set to get back underway. It'll be 19 laps to go in stage 1. Lane Riggs leading his first ever laps at Charlotte Motor Speedway brings us back to the restart.
On the side of that truck, it says Charlotte, the Niners. And you can see that's got to be a proud moment. Here in Charlotte to be running right out front and leading this race.
See Corey Day slip up to the high stick right there. He's really trying to learn that 7 truck and fight it, but that was a big moment in turns 1 and 2.
Look at this mess. They're all over the place.
Bit of a block light freeze it there on Garcia. 52 and 98 on the bottom of the track. Garcia trying to hold on to a loose truck. Double wide for what looks like 6 rows down. 3 wide off.
This is crazy. Just what we expected all over this racetrack.
Thought maybe we'd have some time to take and learn for a little bit for these drivers. Not the case, Michael. They're getting after it. Jump in the middle, Ben Rhodes in a 99. Corey Day continuing to slide back. He just fell out of the top 10 time in his race.
Chastain with a big push on the back of Day. He'll go high. See if he can make some moves down there. Should it start bringing Stuart Priest in there? Good truck. That's fine.
It'll file out just a little bit. Drake still in front of Eckes, but not by much. Honeycutt still trying to work the top side. He's been pretty much committed since this race began. See what that middle does. It gets Kate Honeycutt that run down the back straight away. He's just trying to get that truck wound up to be able to see if he can make a pass. And look at Christian Eckes in front of him. The back of that truck is hanging out as he goes to the lead. Why not?
It's hanging out, and he's got the Pedal to the metal.
Oh, little contact.
Hey, look at this. Riggs was trying to work the side draft. Now Honeycutt comes up the outside trying to bounce to the lead.
There we go. My volume was not working very well just now.
Team has struggled mightily this year, and he's able to drop to the lead.
Last week, very uncharacteristic. They still battled to get a 7th place run, but man, I know they had their struggles and looking fantastic early in the Charlotte race. As Eckes becomes our 3rd different leader, he got the lead in dramatic fashion. Watch this.
This is what you call hearing yourself. He just ran that other truck, the truck of Riggs, right up the hill and grabbed that spot.
And based on how that was looking like it was going to turn out, Michael, I think Lane Riggs is probably fine with just losing 3 spots there and being able to fight another lap here.
Hello, I'm coming over.
That's all a product of having to try and utilize that side draft, and sometimes you just get it just a little bit wrong between the 2 trucks, and it doesn't work out. Let's get an update on the 3rd leader of the race, Christian Eckes. Here's Josh.
CCC for Christian Eckes in his first year back in the Truck Series. I talked to him the other day, and he talked about the frustrations. Saying there's only been a couple of races where they felt like they had a dominant truck capable of winning. So he said we had to evaluate our team, look at some things we could change. He said they went back to setups that they used a couple of years ago when he was in the Truck Series. Stuff they should use to help out and get.
Christian Eckes does lead right now, looking for his first win as a full-time truck regular. Of course, Riley Series Racing last season was a full-time truck regular for a few years before that with both Thor Sport Racing and the same team he's racing with right now at Hilgeman Racing. And he was not in the 91 car at that time. He was actually in the 19, now driven by Daniel Hemrick. So it's a 2-truck operation. It was single-truck team back when he was full-time with them. And they added another truck that was driven by part-time drivers last year. Eckes actually ran a couple races. Eckes now back to full-time this season and running well. He was better on the short tracks than the 1.5-mile tracks, but he did have a couple of 1.5-mile track wins over his couple seasons in Truck Series operations. And so him leading right now, not a surprise by any means, but it'll be interesting to see if he can hold on. Caden Honeycutt in second has been the strongest, I should say, driver of the Truck Series regulars over the last month or so when we have had racing. He's been not only competing for wins, but getting his first on the road course at Watkins Glen a couple weeks ago. That truck was dominated last season by Corey Heim, who won double-digit races and the championship. So Honeycutt finally starting to show out in that equipment after a slow start to the season, and he sits in second at the moment. The distance between Eckes and Honeycutt about 0.4 of a second, with Brandon Jones in third, 1.3 seconds back, one of his better trucks series runs. He does have a truck win at Pocono, but we haven't seen him really compete well when running part-time in trucks the last couple of seasons. And in this race in particular, looking pretty good. Started up in the top 5, and he's still running in third. Ty Majeski slow on the racetrack, and he is on the apron between, I believe, turns 1 and 2. And he's got a long ways to go to try to make it back into the pits. We do stay green at the moment. All right, there we go. So some team communications there to listen into. Sounds like the throttle just stopped working for whatever reason for Ty Majeski, so he is at a slow rolling coast trying to get back into the pits, and if he's got no throttle input, I don't know that he's going to be able to make it all the way back around. He's just getting into turn 3 right now, so he's got the better part of a quarter mile to just try to coast it. He is absolutely creeping and so slow enough that NASCAR is going to bring out a caution just for a safety hazard there as he's on the bottom of the racetrack. Don't want him to get hit by oncoming traffic. Even though he's out of the way slow, it was very, very slow. I mean, he was below caution speed the way he was rolling. Up and down season for Ty Majeski, coming off an up, and it's going to be another down if he's going to end up with a last place finish in this one here today. He was running in 35th. Timmy Hill, I believe, was out of the race. Scratch that. Luke Baldwin was the only truck off the lead lap. We saw him get loose in the opening couple laps of the race. I guess he pulled into the pits. Might have had a tire down under that first green flag run. But Ty Majeski falling multiple laps down already, and it looks like he may be done for the day if they can't get that issue fixed. He's already off the lead lap by a couple of laps. in the 88 for Thor Sport Racing. So Christian Eckes, race leader. Caden Honeycutt is second. Brandon Jones third. Lane Riggs fourth. Ross Chastain rounds out the top 5. 6th place is Chandler Smith with Leland Honeyman in 7th. Daniel Hemrick in 8th. William Sawalich 9th. And Stuart Friesen rounding out the top 10.
Points at this time.
An interesting cat for me is Shane Gisberg, and we saw him just laboring in the field. Green flag for this restart, and he has jumped 13 spots inside the top 25. The 71 truck was on quite the race, passing a truck a lap as he came to that caution. This could be an interesting time for him to say, okay, guys, we got a truck we can people with, we can win this race with. Let's use some strategy here. That's what this is all about.
And it sounds like on the radio that we might be seeing SVG as one of the trucks that are going to elect to try to come down the pit lane once the pits are open. As for the race leader, Christian Eckes, he's now led in 4 of his 6 starts at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Well, this summer, the biggest tournament on the planet comes to America, and you can see it all right here on Fox. Get ready for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and it's all kicking off June 11th on Fox and FS1. It's been fun to travel to a lot of the different cities that are hosting the World Cup and seeing them start to promote it in a big way. Really excited to see how that all pans out.
In Dover last week, I got me a USA jersey, number 15, so I'm going to be proudly watching Fox Sports and following America.
Excited to see Team USA on Fox and see what they're capable of. Always a good time.
So the pits are going to be open this time, and problems follow. Another driver who's had a really tough 2026, that's Cole Butcher.
Two Thor Sport trucks.
And that is going to shut the pits down for another lap at least.
That's interesting. Getting a report of fuel pressure issues for the 13 of Butcher. He's been fast too. You know, you talk about the ups and downs. So he starts with a lot of promise, a lot of speed, but has had a lot of issues during the course of the season.
Two Thor Sport trucks that have
gas. You can see the crew members back there working on that left rear corner.
And I would have to think it seems way too early in the race to be out of fuel, and got to think maybe there's something else going on causing them to feel like it's out of fuel, potentially maybe a pickup issue or something like that with that 13 truck.
Call it Thor Sport trucks there.
And you can see them, they're getting ready to raise the back of the deck lid of this truck, and that would kind of indicate that there's something else that they want to try and see if they can figure out.
And this team desperately wants to try to remediate the problem because they do not want this to be a 4th straight DNF for Cole and this team.
The speed early in this race for Daniel Hemrick driving up through the field as well. Ricky Stenhouse, a strong start to this race. Stenhouse doesn't need any points. I'd be really surprised if he isn't one of the guys in this Ford truck that hit pit road here.
I think definitely with the speed he's shown early on, Michael, the amount of spots he's moved up, 18 since the start of the race, that would be a great play for them. And you know, we mentioned we thought he was going to be good in this Ford truck today, and he's proven that so far.
Does that screams America to me, right? Memorial Day weekend's got the red, white, blue flying on that Ford JF electric truck. Beautiful truck.
So the pits are going to be open this time. It'll be up to Eckes, Honeycutt, and Brandon Jones will be the first 3 to decide how they want to treat the remainder of this stage as they get set to approach the pit lane, which will offer up a green indicator for the first time under this caution flag. And Eckes is going to lead the charge as we get set to kick off pit stops. Let's go down to Amanda.
Yeah, and Eric, I'm not surprised to see Lane Riggs take the opportunity as well. It was right after he lost the lead where he was like, I'm just hanging on out here. His crews are one of the first over the wall as you see the change happening now. It's going to be some air pressure adjustments and wedge to get this truck right in for Lane Riggs, Josh.
91 of Christian Eckes, pretty happy with that truck at the start. They had too tight for him. He said, I don't want to be freed up too much. Because I think an adjustment, 4 tires and fuel for him. Honeycutt, same report, tight, not able to really get to the trucks in front of him, especially on turn 4. It's much hard for Honeycutt.
And in the race off of pit road, it is going to be Grant Enfinger with a bit of strategy being pulled for the driver of the CR7 number 9.
Fuel only. 17 positions gained for Enfinger, going with a fuel-only stop. And this is all in an effort to try to get some stage points before the end of stage number 1. 2 cautions in our opening frame today of 30 laps. This last one, Ty Majeski going for a little bit of a slide. Caden Honeycutt's got a 38-point advantage over Lane Riggs, who's second in points coming into the race today. Chandler Smith third, Gio Ruggiero fourth, and Ty Majeski, who had the early problems, fifth in points entering this race, in danger of easily falling out of the top 5. Christian Eckes, who has led the most laps early on, in 6th in the point standings entering today's race. Ben Rhodes 7th, Jake Garcia 8th, Stuart Friesen in 9th, and rounding out the top 10, Tyler Ankrum. Corey Heim still sitting 11th in points, first driver outside the chase despite only 4 starts of the 9 races so far this season. He is not in the field again today, so he'll drop back a bit more. Daniel Hemrick is 12th in the point standings, tied with Brendan Queen and Justin Haley 14th. Andres Perez of the truck regulars 15th in points as well. By the time we get this next restart in, we're only going to have a couple laps to go in stage number 1. There were a couple trucks that stayed out of the pits that are ahead of Grant Enfinger. Justin Haley, Dawson Sutton, and Spencer Boyd stayed out. Grant Enfinger went with fuel only, so the first on 4 fresh tires will be Lane Riggs in the 5th place position with just a couple laps to go. And this is going to be very interesting to see how quickly they can try to get to the front and get this stage 1 win. Had that extra lap of caution before pit road even opened because of the 13 truck also having what seems to be the same problem as Ty Majeski. Cole Butcher, a teammate at Thor Sport Racing of Majeski, having some fuel pickup issues as well, or throttle input issues. Majeski is 7 laps down, still off track, 3 laps down for Cole Butcher. And everybody else, 34 trucks on the lead lap still. See if Justin Haley can stay out, get these stage points. He was outside the chase cut line as I was just going through the points, so a stage 1 can be huge for Haley. He's 14th in points, so he's 4 positions out of the top 10, but he was only 11 points back. That's how tight the gap is right now. 4 drivers within 11 points of that final chase spot. And even to go a little further, Stuart Friesen's only 4 points to the good, 9th in points, and only 9 points to the good is Jake Garcia, 8th in the standings. So really 8 through 14, very, very tight. And there could be a lot of movement here today in what is the 10th race out of 18 in the regular season. Lights are out on the pace car, so we will be going green this time by, and we will have, I believe, 3 laps to go in stage number 1. So a little green-white checker. Hood and Declan still up on the 88 of Majeski as he sits in the pits. And the Kingsford Menards number 88 Ford F-150. All right, pace car onto pit road. And here we go. 2 laps left, actually, in stage 1, so it's a traditional green-white checker. As the green flag's back in the air. Got to go back to row 3 with the drivers on 4 fresh tires trying to get by the top 4. Big squeeze by Grant Enfinger trying to slide up out of the inside of row 2 to the top lane of the racetrack. It's going to be 3 wide for the lead up out of turn 2. And it is mayhem down the back straightaway. Caden Honeycutt up the middle. No, actually, no, that's a 5 truck. William Sawalich up the middle. And 4 wide in the middle of the pack with 1 truck getting squeezed against the fence, but somehow no incident as they exit turn 4 and head for the final lap of the stage. Christian Eckes got through all of that mess. He was the first truck to take the lead into turns 3 and 4, despite being 3 and 4 wide behind him. That was a land rush if I've ever seen one. And right back to where he was running prior to the caution, despite all the pit strategy in front of him. Brandon Jones got through to second. Enfinger still holding on to third as they exit turn 4. He might lose another spot coming to the line, which he does. And there you have it. Stage 1 in the books. Christian Eck is stage 1 winner. Brandon Jones in second. Lane Riggs third. Grant Enfinger fourth. And Caden Honeycutt rounding out the top 5 in fifth. Sixth place for William Sawalich. Corey Day 7th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 8th. Jake Garcia 9th. And Dawson Sutton rounds out the top 10. Good stage win for Eckes. Still trying to battle for that regular season championship. You win both stages and win a race, you can score 75 points. He was 76 out of first from Honeycutt coming into the day today, so a win can go a long ways. He's still searching for his first of the season. We've only seen 3 full-time truck regulars get a win in the first 9 races this year, with Caden Honeycutt, Lane Riggs, and Chandler Smith each having 1 apiece. Corey Heim, part-time in the trucks, and really across all 3 series, has won 2 races. And he sits 11th in points, and the other 4 have been won by Cup Series regulars. Carson Hosevar with 2 wins this season, 2 wins as well for Kyle Busch. So we have made it to the end of stage 1. Easy Network, thanks for tuning in. No, I don't live in Charlotte. I don't live here. No. I did move, though. Living in Cleveland now. Roughly. AJ Summers, thanks for tuning in. I don't know if I shouted you out yet or not. In the stream earlier, voted for Riggs, but Corey Day showed his strength on the Wetwish green track last night. I will say Corey Day has seemingly, at least by my eye test, been better in O'Reilly starts than what he has been in truck starts. Because he ran more truck races last year when he was part-time across the O'Reilly truck in ARCA, but for some reason, like, he was showing more consistency towards the end of the season, but still ends up getting the jump to O'Reilly, and I'd say it's working out well for him. He's had a good jump. 2 wins already this season, pretty solid. Winning at Dover and Talladega, both in the last month. And another top 5 last night at Charlotte in a race where he led some laps as well. So again, stage 1 in the books. Christian Eckes, the stage 1 winner. Brandon Jones still having a solid run inside the top 3. Let's take a look at that chat poll so far, which opened a little bit after the start of the race today. So we're going to go into roughly the final pit stops of stage 3 before I'm going to close the poll out instead of at the end of stage 2 like I usually would do. 37 votes, 37% of the votes, I should say, going with Corey Day for the win. 32% taking somebody other than Riggs, Honeycutt, or Day. Lane Riggs at 26%. Caden Honeycutt only getting 5% of the votes despite being the points leader. That is very shocking. He hasn't won on an oval before, though, so I'll give it to you there. But he's been very consistent. And outside of Corey Heim basically stealing wins from him at both Martinsville and Bristol, I think he would have a couple of wins already this year.
This weekend, getting set to run the 600 later on today, and crown jewels were something that he knew how to capture quite often, including the Brickyard 400. But another exclamation point for the second title to put a stamp on the one that he captured years prior, despite missing those handful of races. Lyle's legacy was something that is going to live on forever throughout our industry. As we welcome you back to Charlotte Motor Speedway for the North Carolina Education Lottery 200, and we'll welcome you back into the broadcast booth along with Michael Waltrip and Regan Smith. I'm Eric Brendan, and Michael, it's really been hard to grasp the reality that we've been living in over these last 2 days, knowing that Kyle is no longer with us, and the mood has been somber, but looking at clips like that and some of the other memories we've been able to stir up, what a life that Kyle lived, and what a legacy he's left behind.
You know what I love? I know he's in heaven looking down. And so many people that he battled elbow to elbow with and wrecked and wanted to fight are telling everyone how wonderful of a person Kyle was, what a competitor he was, what competitive spirit he possessed, and how much he wanted to go out and do the right thing on the racetrack by winning races. And then you see him now raising his kids, and all the things he does with Brexton and Lennox. It just warms your heart. And I know Kyle's smiling, thinking, well, they all like me that much. And I know also that his family are loving these moments too, getting to hear everybody pay respect and be so thoughtful and thankful. We knew Kyle Busch. Can't believe he's gone. It's really hard for me to grasp, but believe that he's in a better place.
The last lengthy conversation I had with Kyle was at Texas a few weeks ago, and we talked for maybe 10 seconds about racing and about race cars. We spent the next 5 to 10 minutes talking about Brexton and talking about his family and what was going on with Lennox and Samantha and just, as everyone's been saying all weekend, it doesn't seem real. It just doesn't seem real. And to have had the opportunity to be on the racetrack and race with Kyle and know him off the track and the family man that he became, he is going to be so missed. And just love being able to honor him this weekend and showcase what a talent he was.
Well, off the track, Michael was able to have some fun with him as well. We talked about the Cup Championships. How about this title that Kyle won?
It's a two-day force.
I was actually watching this the other night.
My referee outfit, and watch this move Kyle Busch puts on. The difference. 24/7 champion in 2019.
It just doesn't matter what it was. Kyle found a way to always win.
All he does is wrestling. All he does is win. That's right.
So we will continue to honor Kyle not only throughout the rest of this program, but throughout the rest of the season, as will just about every racing series. From Charlotte to Indy, it's all over and well-deserved for Kyle and company as we are a half a lap away from the restart here with the trucks to begin stage number 2. A little bit of housekeeping here. We talked about Justin Haley falling back. He actually had a flat left front on the last lap, as did his teammate Brendan Butterbean Queen. Most of the trucks came on down, filled up with Sunoco race fuel with zero carbon bioethanol, and it was Christian Eckes who took home top honors of the stage. And Regan, how about Dawson Sutton hanging on there for a top 10?
Yeah, a really nice job on Old Tires finding a way to get at least a point out of it. And you mentioned Justin Haley. Had to question if something wasn't going wrong there as quick as he fell back through the pack. Looked a little out of control, too.
Well, we see Ricky Stenhouse going to restart on the outside of the fourth row. And then a guy I've been watching all race long, Brandon Jones. I think he's going to be one of my favorites to get it done today. He's just got a fast number 1 truck, and he's in a good spot right now.
As they come into the Echo Park restart zone.
All right, pace car pulls onto pit road. We're set to begin stage number 2 here at Charlotte. Green flag back in the air. And Christian Eck has taken the inside of row 1 for the restart. Restarts we did see in the O'Reilly race yesterday. It was kind of flip-flopped whether it be the driver on the inside of row 1 or the outside of row 1 that was taking the front spot at the end of the first lap. One truck slipping up the middle and going in the complete wrong direction up off the exit of turn 2, losing several spots. Tough to tell who that was towards the back of the pack. As the leaders exit off of turn 2, Brandon Jones, Christian Eckes. It is Eckes still holding on to the lead, and Jones actually falls to third with Lane Riggs all over the back of the 91 truck looking for the lead. Riggs searching to the top side of the racetrack near the wall. Trying to get a little extra speed. Off the banking, down the flatness of the back straightaway. And a good job trying to break the draft out of the 91 of Eckes. Eckes Riggs 1-2. While they run first and second, Caden Honeycutt gets back into third place. Brandon Jones falls from second to fourth on the restart after finishing second at the end of stage 2. And Grant Enfinger, who did not take tires under that last stop, he has fallen to sixth. Ross Chastain, the Watermelon Man, who won last night's O'Reilly race, is back up into the top 5 and fifth. And Chastain, of course, the winner of the Coca-Cola 600 last season as well. 22 laps to go in stage 2. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has cracked the top 10 for the first time up to 9th place, having a solid run in that number 4 truck. And caution is out on the speedway again.
Caution is out immediately as the truck has made its way
Wow,
down
big
to the
fire
apron.
for
It's
Luke
Luke
Baldwin.
whose bad day has just gone even worse.
Get that thing over in the grass. That'll help get some moisture under the hood. See if Luke can hop out of that thing right quick.
Saw the window net down quick, which he's hustling out as fast as he can, and glad to see him hop out.
Yes, sir.
Luke was unfortunately still a lap down at the time after the initial problem at the start of the race. You see Luke climbing from the truck.
Letting the safety team know that he's okay, but he's obviously taking in some
Oh, yeah.
fumes, coughing those up.
See at the top of the screen there.
The thing just blow up,
Looked
Regan?
like it blew up, yeah, Michael, and
Right in the middle of the front stretch.
the fire to follow immediately.
It's hot. Headers. What a mess. Oh, that fire. Just glad to see Luke hop out of that. And you know, looking on TV, it's a guy that's been on fire before. It's just, you can't explain the intensity of that heat when it comes up like that.
All you're thinking about is, let me get this vehicle stopped, which is exactly what he did, get out as quick as can. And he did a nice job also. You know, when that smoke fills the cab of the truck, it gets very difficult to see, and you're worried about slowing down. You're also trying to keep the truck on track the best you can and get down to where you can come to a safe stop. And you see the thumbs up from Luke. That's what you like to see. I know he's frustrated, but that thumbs up tells everybody I'm okay.
And I like that kid's competitiveness. I mean, every time he gets behind the wheel of this 2 truck, he puts it up front. He puts it in a good position. He's had some good runs, and sad that it came to an end early here today, but he'll continue to learn and continue to grow as a driver.
I drove for Luke's dad, Tommy, for a year, and Luke was a really little kid. It's kind of crazy to see him all grown up right now, and you know, to be out here in the truck series and doing the things he is. He does a nice job. He puts the trucks in the places that he can, and it's really doing a good job of learning his racecraft.
You know why he was a little kid? You're old. You've gotten old.
I wasn't going to go down that path, Michael. I was just pretending that maybe, you know, I'm old. You're right. I'm just going to go with that.
It feels good to be up here, doesn't it? We're still involved in this wonderful sport of NASCAR, getting to what we love, watch guys race.
So this is caution number 4. And this race here at Charlotte kicks off a very unique stretch of tracks for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, Regan. Yeah, I mean, you see right here, Charlotte obviously today, but Nashville, concrete 1.33 mile track. Michael, I know you love Nashville. That's going to be fun. And then Michigan, the manufacturers, 2 miles, and it just is as fast as they come.
And what about we're going to another street course? Man, we had so much fun down at St. Pete with these guys, and now we're going to go to San Diego and race on the streets there, Naval Base.
Then we enter the road course, the National Terrain Road Course, Lime Rock Park for the second straight year, and then back on a short track at North Wilkesboro Speedway. This is just such a fun schedule of races right here, and you could look at any one of these and say, hey, what's your favorite one? I know for me, I am looking forward to San Diego. Going to be so special racing around a naval base. Well, as far as that San Diego stop, let's take a look at what it's going to look like when we get there.
This is amazing. I cannot wait to wander around on the naval base at San Diego. Another opportunity just to say thank you. Thank you to the men and women that protect us and keep this the greatest country in the world.
And just a beautiful, beautiful scene. It's hard to believe that there's going to be a racetrack in those shots that we just saw, and the aircraft carrier sitting right there, and what a special weekend. Continuing to work this caution in stage number 2. Let's go down to Josh.
Let's get an update on Corey Day. Started the day on the pole. He was really tight in that 7 truck during the first run. They made an adjustment, a track bar adjustment to try and help him out a little bit better, but still said he's too tight, especially in 3 and 4. They told him he's probably going to have to run the bottom line, even though he wants to move up to compensate for that. But this 7 truck for Corey Day, we know the emotions of him stepping in for Kyle Busch in this day. Told me earlier today that, yes, it's something that is going to be on his mind. The best thing he can do is try and get this thing into victory lane, the tragedy of it all. But he's looking to honor KB with a win out here today, guys.
Yeah, and you see on that 7 truck, Spire Motorsports putting the KBM decals all over that truck on the front, the back, and on the bed cover there. And, that was Kyle Busch Motorsports, which was, that's where Spire came from. And, just so cool to see those logos back on that truck, and Corey out there driving for Kyle today.
And I love about Corey, I mean, it's been crazy, his race. I mean, he's been sideways, he's been 3 wide, but he's sitting in the 6th position, still in a position to go win this race.
Working our 4th caution of the race. We'll step aside and come on back for the restart here in Charlotte.
Kind of a lengthy caution. That 2 truck was on fire from about the first third of the front stretch, that first kink in the D shape of that front stretch oval, and he didn't get the truck stopped all the way to the grass by the exit of turn 2. So with that leaking some potential fluids around the racetrack, NASCAR trying to make sure they get that cleaned up. Quite a few yellows already if you count the stage break at lap 30. We've had 4 cautions already in just 42 laps. 17 laps under caution, nearly half the race has been under yellow to this point, and that was kind of the case last night in the O'Reilly race for a little bit of a different reason. Some crashes there, but we actually had as many incidents already in this race as what we did in the O'Reilly race through 91 laps. Most of the caution laps ran because of trying to wait out mist on multiple occasions just to see if the rain was going to get heavier, the track was going to get more damp to where they weren't going to be able to race again, both at the end of stage 2 and then twice in those first 33 laps under caution periods as well. So again, Christian Eckes, the race leader. Lane Riggs in 2nd. Caden Honeycutt 3rd. Brandon Jones 4th. Ross Chastain is 5th. Corey Day is in 6th place with Grant Enfinger 7th. Giro 8th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 9th. And Daniel Hemrick in 10th. 11th is Jake Garcia. William Sawalich rounds out the top dozen. Take a break. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race. Connor Burke, Thomas Roth, thanks for tuning in recent minutes. Showed Kyle at WWE. Yeah, I remember when he won the 24/7 title. As a NASCAR fan and a pro wrestling fan, I was like, I love that crossover. I do. I like when William Byron last year was showcased after winning the Daytona 500 on WWE, and Tyler Reddick the same thing earlier this year. Popped up in a segment after winning the Daytona 500 as well. I mean, the crossover into the mainstream is good for the sport in and of itself, but me personally, I just like it when I have 2 things that I like a lot meshing together. Can't go wrong. San Diego could be fun to watch even if SVG dominates. Yeah, and I don't think that the Cup drivers are able to run the lower series races that weekend, so get to see a Truck, O'Reilly, and a Cup race in Chicago. I thought that was announced at least when they said they were going to San Diego for the street race this year. Last season when they announced it was going to be the street race in San Diego this year.
Here's Brandon Jones.
Uh-oh.
Adverse weather conditions, that means at 12 o'clock, the next lap will be the white flag. And I feel like we're good. It's just still, but the teams are just letting their guys know it's a possibility that we won't go all the way, but I feel like we're going to make it.
And it's not like we needed anything to ramp the intensity up just a little bit more, Michael. It's been intense already on the track for these trucks, and we'll have to, as a team there, you keep an eye on it, but not something overly concerning quite yet. They're just reminding the drivers, and as a driver, you want to know those things.
Yes.
You have no range for time when you're in the truck. All you know is what lap you're on and who you're racing around, so you need those reminders. Now, if we happen to get towards the end of the race before 12 o'clock noon Eastern time and we were to have a late caution, we would have the opportunity for overtime. It's only in effect if we get up to 12 noon, so that'll be the time that we'll be keeping an eye on here on the watch as we get set to restart this race. Christian Eckes, a Kyle Busch Motorsports alumni, alongside of Lane Riggs, are going to bring us down for this restart. It's going to be 15 laps to go in the stage, 89 laps to go in the race. A pair of Tricon Garage teammates, and Caden Honeycutt, the points leader in the 11 in row 2, with Brandon Jones up to the outside to round out your front 4. Getting set.
All right. Headed for the next restart as they run into the Geico restart zone. We got Christian Eckes, Lane Riggs on the front row. We're going to be halfway through stage number 2, officially at the line. And as you heard, adverse weather conditions with everything in store. I believe this is a Fox TV decision because the Indy 500 is on Fox. Noon Eastern, this race will be over. So at noon Eastern, the white flag will wave, the next flag will end the race. We actually saw this with the street race, I believe, in St. Petersburg because of darkness earlier. No, it wasn't St. Pete. There was a race earlier this season where the trucks... Atlanta. There we go. I had the wrong race. Atlanta, for the truck series, they had to do this so they could get the O'Reilly race in immediately after. And now you're seeing it here as well. In several races over the last couple seasons. So not necessarily racing weather, but racing time here today. Big block down the back straightaway. Corey Day airborne and hits hard driver's side door first before getting clobbered back up the racetrack. My goodness, what a terrible hit. Truck came up off of all 4 tires, spinning in the air. It did not flip, but when he hit the inside retaining wall, it was driver's side first, and that was a nasty crash. And hopefully he is okay. He tried to make a late block at the end of the back straightaway, and he turned himself across the front bumper of another vehicle. And as he was sliding backwards, air got underneath the race truck, picked it up off the ground, and by the time he landed on all 4, it was almost simultaneously with him hitting driver's side first against the inside wall. We are under caution at the moment. And safety crews are working with Day. Day is still inside the race car. He is moving around, good to see. But he has not gotten out of the car yet. And now he's climbing out under his own power. And hopefully he is all right as he'll be headed to the infield care center. Mandatory trip. Seems to be walking all right. That was a scary crash. Wow. You don't see trucks get up in the air like that at Charlotte. For a second, I thought he was headed for the catch fence on the inside of the racetrack. Luckily, the truck came down on all 4s before he had gotten to the wall. And just absolutely destroyed the left side of his truck. I don't know who that was that snuck to his inside and was trying to make the pass on him. It was definitely a late block, and the accident was caused by Corey Day. And he kind of hit in that awkward angle against the inside wall as well. Where it's not straight out. So that way the safety officials could get to that area of the racetrack on the back straightaway without having to go all the way around. Vinny Tyrell trying to miss the incident, ended up hitting the left rear of Day's race truck as he slid back across the racetrack. Lock gone way wrong for Corey Day. Safer barrier is what caused him to go back to the track. But also saved his health. Yeah, that was that was a gnarly crash. Minnie Tyrell going to be going to the garage area after making contact with Dave when he came back across the track. I thought more trucks were going to be collected than just those two. That was a hard impact for Tyrell. It ripped the foam out of the left side of the door underneath the number there. In our race against time at noon Eastern, it is just going to be harder and harder to get this full race in. The more cautions we run, slowing the race pace down. Here's Luke Baldwin after his fire moments ago with Amanda
Fire
Wiesek.
quick for you. What was the warning that you had?
Really nothing. It kind of went off of 4 and filled up with smoke, and just trying to get it shut off and slow down and off the racetrack. And then I saw a lot of orange and red, and I guess a little bit of panic set in, but I felt like I got out in a timely manner. Just unfortunate. I hate it. We had something go wrong on the first couple laps. I don't know if it was just super free and I lost it, but it felt like I might have had a tire go down. I don't know. I want to make an excuse if it was my fault, but I don't know. And then the guys were working super hard to get it fixed, and I think we're going to end up being able to make it to stage 3, pick a couple off, and just ride around and hopefully make it to the end. I hate it for my guys. They worked way too hard all week for an incident like that on the first couple laps, and then to lose an engine. Just hate it for the whole program.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. Luke worked very hard with the Team Rayome organization to help rebuild the truck after the incident at Dover last week, as the pits are open, and the first truck to come down, Gio Ruggiero, with some noticeable damage there right above the right front headlight, and he leads several more down for service.
Yeah, Gio was running 7th, and basically everyone behind him, Josh, decided to pit. 17's got a little bit of damage.
Yeah, that's right. 17 of Gio Ruggiero has that damage from the contact with the 7 truck. He said it felt like it's still driving well, dragging the right front tire a bit, but the steering wheel still feels straight. But that you could see them trying to evaluate the truck right now and repair some of that damage on the right front, guys.
They're evaluating it with a hammer, moving that right front fender out. I think he'll be fine. There was not major damage there.
Yeah, and you saw that fender take its form back as soon as they hit that hammer on it. Took its form back. That damage, we saw Ross Chastain with a little damage to his front earlier on. Probably didn't need to be fixed, but this one definitely needed some help. We are under caution number 5 after a frightening ride for Corey Day.
Man, oh man. Well, glad Corey Day was able to get out under his own power. I'm sure we'll get an interview with him as he exits the infield care center, assuming everything is okay there. And, man, what a terrible crash that was. And luckily, both he and Minnie Tyrell seemed to be okay. Tyrell drove his truck back into the garage. Nowhere to go for Tyrell either, because he had a truck to his outside already, and that truck actually scraped the wall. Looking at another replay on the side-by-side commercial break. I don't know who that was racing to his outside. It might have been Grant Enfinger in the 9. It almost looked like him. And Enfinger's back at 24th now, so that could have been. This gets set up for an interesting strategy in Stage 3 if we continue to have caution after caution. We only have an hour left in this race at maximum. (11 a.m. Eastern. So we get to noon Eastern, and then the white flag will wave if we are not at the conclusion of the race already. These teams were aware of that after the drivers' meeting this morning. I wish the broadcast would have said something before a little bit ago, just so we had an idea. Earl Arnold Jr., thanks for tuning in. MLB hat that's dark green, light green, sun on it. Is that the Brewers hat? No, it's the Marlins probably. I don't know. Probably Marlins or Brewers. I'm not good with colors. The only hats I can think of with an M on it are those two off the top of my head. Lane Riggs leads under the caution with Brandon Jones in second, Christian Eckes third, Caden Honeycutt fourth, and Chris Wright, not Wright in fifth. It's back at the leaderboard. Ross Chastain in fifth place. I'm just amazed that a car, or truck in this case, about had a blowover at Charlotte on a 1.5-mile track. I mean, I guess we saw a flip on a 1.5-mile track a couple weeks ago with Carson Kvapil at Kansas, but in the O'Reilly race, it's happened before. And in recent memory, too. Chris Buescher had a flip in the Coca-Cola 600 on the front stretch at Charlotte for a completely different reason. That wasn't a blowover, but that happened just a few years ago, back in 2022. I remember I got home from the Indy 500 that year, and I turned the TV on in less than 5 minutes after watching the back half of the 600 that happened. I was like, oh, I'm going to get home just in time, watch the last 100 laps or so, and then that happens like almost immediately. I was like, whoa, wasn't expecting to see that when I turned the television on. Yeah, no red flag condition here. They stayed under caution, and it appears we'll be going green this time by as the field is doubled up after getting to the choose rule. So despite the hit against the inside wall and the debris scattered across turns 3 and 4, it was a pretty quick cleanup. Felt like it, at least. We've ran single-digit green flag laps in the second stage so far, and we only have about 7 laps to go in stage 2 when we get back to racing. Lane Riggs, the leader. On the inside of row number 1, green flag back in the air. Brandon Jones outside of row 1. Last time Jones was in the outside of row 1, he ended up falling back to 5th place, so we'll see if he can hang on at least for the front couple spots. Not going to be able to contest with the leader, Riggs. Already going to lose 2nd place on the bottom of the track as well to Eckes. And Ross Chastain from the inside of row 3 looking underneath for 3rd. Eckes trying to make a move for the lead. Big block by Riggs at the end of the back straightaway, holds on. 3 wide in the middle of the pack. Back half of the top 10. Right around the 18 truck of Tyler Ankrum, Ben Rhodes, Andres Perez for 8th place, and a couple rows of 3 wide, and a little bit of contact of which headed down towards turn 1, deeper in the field. That's a madhouse. Lane Riggs trying to break the draft down the back straightaway as well. Draft must be of a high effect of some sort on this racetrack today, because I've seen both Eckes and Riggs try to break the draft on the back straightaway on these restarts. Try not to let the truck from behind get any kind of a run or momentum built up by turn 3. But granted, seeing that the 7 of Corey Day about went upside down a little bit ago, I guess there has to be some kind of a draft if they're going fast enough. A lot of unique things that we've seen in Charlotte already in the first 56 laps out of 134. 4 laps to go in stage 2, this time by at the line for Riggs. Eckes ended up winning stage 1, so he's looking for a good points day as he sits in 2nd right now. We'll see if he can get 1 spot better. Riggs has about a 4/10 of a second lead at the moment. 7/10 ahead of Ross Chastain, who just took 3rd place away from the 1 of Brandon Jones. And boy, Chastain squeezed the 1 up the track up out of turn 2. Slide job, he was putting him in a position where he was forced to basically have to lift or hit the wall. He lifts, gives up the spot, and because of lifting, now the 19 of Hemrick is underneath for 4th. One of the better runs we've seen out of Hemrick this season. A very slow start to the 2026 campaign for Daniel Hemrick as he sits below the cutoff line for the chase still. And we're going to be past halfway through the regular season at the checkered flag today. Hemrick slides up in front and takes away 4th. Much needed stage points for the driver of the 19. So both of the McAnally-Hilgeman teams are running 2nd and 4th. Good showing for them here today. Caden Honeycutt has lost some spots after running up in the top 3 in stage 1. He is sitting 6th, looking to attack on Jones next. 2 laps to go in the stage. The deficit right now for Eckes is about a half a second behind Lane Riggs. Ross Chastain 8/10 back in 3rd. 1.2 seconds off the lead in 4th is Hemrick, and then Brandon Jones still about 1.8 seconds out of the lead in 5th. Top 5 in the intervals between them. Ben Rhodes holding back a couple of trucks, including his teammate Jake Garcia, in a battle for 7th inside the top 10. Stuart Friesen also right there, along with Tyler Ankrum. Final lap of stage 2. Final stage again, 74 laps today. We get some green flag racing. We're still going to get to the end of this one, even with all the cautions that we have seen so far. Friesen sneaks across the outside, takes away a spot from Garcia. Ankrum closes the gap on him, and Friesen might actually get 2 spots here as he gets to the outside of the 99. That was a whole shot down the back straightaway for Stewie, and Friesen's going to pick up 2 positions on the final lap of the second stage. That's 2 points as he gets to 7th. Out in front of the field, though, it's Lane Riggs getting the Stage 2 victory. Second in points coming in, trying to close the gap on Honeycutt. He was 39 back entering the day. Christian Eckes second, Ross Chastain third, Daniel Hemrick fourth, and Brandon Jones rounds out the top 5 and 5th with Caden Honeycutt sixth, Stuart Friesen 7th, 8th place Ben Rhodes, 9th for Jake Garcia, and Tyler Ankrum rounding out the top 10. So we have reached the end of stage 2, 74 laps to go, just over an hour into the race, 7 lead changes. This is now our 6th caution, our second stage break. 4 cautions for incident, 2 in both stage 1 and stage 2, which were 30 laps in length. 26 laps and counting under yellow thus far. And Lane Riggs, stage 2 winner, of course, stage 1 winner, Christian Eckes. Here's Corey Day outside the infield care center. I'm going to rewind the interview so you can listen to it all.
This weekend means to you and for the team. We're going to take a look at the replay. Can you walk us through your experience?
Yeah, the 17 just, I think, run there. He kind of, started to shade down, so I shaded with him, and then he shaded back up, and that was it. So, I don't know. My spotter didn't do anything wrong. He told me he was there. I just thought I was clear, and I wasn't. So, I just hate it for the 7 guys. I mean, this is exactly what I didn't want to do today. I just wanted to deliver them a good run. So, I feel terrible. Just hate it.
In Corey's defense, coming out of the car yesterday, with the closing rates, they vary a little bit between those cars.
Yeah, tough break. We've still kind of seen flashes of this out of Corey Day, even with him winning recently in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, as far as, getting involved by way of causing incidents with over-aggressive mistakes. We've seen speed out of him, of course, as well, especially in the O'Reilly Series this season. And part of just a young driver trying to make their way in NASCAR. It's nothing new. We've seen this over and over again. He's only 19 years old. He's got a lot of room for improvement. And I'm sure we will see him hone in his craft over coming years. So Lane Riggs, stage 2 winner. Pit road should be open this time by
But set for review. We'll head to pit road. Amanda's down there.
Well, and the guy leading them off is that 34 of Lane Riggs. Has led some of the most laps around here, Charlotte Motor Speedway here today, but he's saying that this truck is a little free. He's struggling with rear security. Josh, there will be adjustments made on this Go Falcons truck.
On the other side of things, for Ross Chastain, he said that truck is tighter than it was earlier. They're going to make some adjustments to help him out. For the 91 of Christian Eckes, the same deal. He said that truck is very tight, especially on throttle, even worse in traffic. As he told him, don't worry, we'll help you out as well.
You know what I love, guys? We got varied strategies, and we've seen it all day long. Different trucks staying out while others pit. It makes for some intense restarts, I know that. But it's fun to follow along and see who's got what for a plan.
All right. So now we're going to have less than 70 laps left when we get back to racing here. Mathematically, if we're looking at around 30 to 31 second lap times for these trucks to make laps at Charlotte, even over the course of a longer run, we get back to racing here. Let's say we go green the rest of this stage. We're going to get this race done well before noon. So that won't be an issue. We can probably get away with a couple more cautions and still get the full distance in by noon Eastern. Luckily, this is a shorter race, 200 miles, which most of the truck races are. So starting right on time today with no weather impacting this morning's beginning portion of the event. It looks like we should, quote unquote, be able to get this in. Now, if we start to have caution after caution after caution like we did here in the first 2 stages and we don't get a lot of green flag racing, then we're going to kind of run into an issue. When we had this happen at Atlanta earlier in the season, they were about 15 laps shy of making it to the end of the race. And that was on a 1.5 mile track as well. So we're going to get close at the very least. I don't think we have seen the last pit stop yet. They will have to pit for fuel purposes at some point in time in this final stage. And even if we get a lot of cautions, I do believe that we're going to have to see these teams back onto pit road again, because the window to open it up on fuel to the end of the race, we're definitely going to get to. So if we see a caution there, we're definitely going to have some pit stops. And we saw a couple of drivers, 4 of which either stay out of the pits or take fuel only back at stage 1. And we had less than 20 green flag laps on those tires, and they still went backwards in a hurry. So it's probably not going to be worth the risk later in the race. Mr. Gilbert, welcome to the stream as well. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. You're listening live KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of today's North Carolina Education Lottery 200 at Charlotte continues. Grant Enfinger, the race leader on our screen. I think he was a part of some of the trucks who came to pit road during the last caution, trying to flip the stage, sacrificing any kind of stage points that they were running in the top 10. He's not the only driver who did this. Christian Eckes, who won the race out of the pits, is in 10th. Top 9 stayed out because they pitted during the last caution of the last stage, trying to get some track position. So Grant Enfinger stayed out, along with Connor Zilic, Gio Ruggiero, Shane Van Gisbergen, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., William Sawalich, Tanner Gray, Chris Wright, and Leland Honeyman. Top 9 stayed out, 10th on back, fresh tires. And we only had a 7-lap green flag run to the end of that last stage. So see how it works out.
We all know. Just a few of the hundreds of bows that Kyle Busch rightfully took throughout his life and career as you welcome me back up to the broadcast booth. And, gentlemen, I love when a driver can deliver a unique style celebration. Did just that, almost as a bit of a tip of the cap to some of the fans who may not have been so receptive when he won some of those races, and he continued that trend, and that trend has carried on to this week, and I think we're going to see some more bows here at Charles Motor Speedway today.
And those fans warmed up to Kyle. Later, as he won more and more races, and recently, there were more cheers and boos, and that moment at Dover, seeing him give the bow and saluting the fans and their response to it, it's something that will live with us as NASCAR fans and folks who live with us forever.
Got to see a number of those bows, not only as a competitor, and as a competitor, you saw so many of them that you almost got irritated with them because it seemed like people won every single race and every single weekend. But then as I switched over to the roll on pit road and getting to be down there and interview the winners, it was so cool to see him get out, 10 years ago until now, and the reaction from the crowd, so special and so cool to see those.
How much are we looking forward to watching Brexton stand up there and give those bows as he races forward with his NASCAR career?
It is only a matter of time until he's making a lot of those.
So as we're just under a lap away from the restart, we got a bit of a hodgepodge of strategy here. Now, it looks as though the top 9 trucks have stayed out. We got to go back to about Christian Eckes to find the first truck out, and we are targeting 45 minutes from now when this adverse conditions rule will take effect. So if we hit the 12 o'clock hour here Eastern, that means that the next time the leader comes by the start-finish line, they will see the white flag. No chance at overtime. With 68 laps to go at this restart, it's going to be close, especially with how frantic the racing has been.
And the closer we get to that 12 o'clock hour, the more the intensity, the more these drivers are going to take more risk, Michael. And they can take more than what they're taking, but they're going to try.
Are you saying things are going to ratchet up? I don't know if I agree with that, Regan. It's crazy.
So, Grant Enfinger, control truck on the bottom of the 9, top row. 3 cup drivers, Zilic, Van Gisbergen, Stenhouse, bottom side, Ruggiero Sawalich, inside of rows 2 and 3, as we get back underway with 68 laps to go.
See, Grant doing a nice job on the restart, having the control that time, and we've seen those 2 lanes be side by side coming off the turn 2 here.
Oh, Jack there, Chastain. Fine.
Damage there to Honeyman's truck. It's bumped off the 62, but he doesn't lift, does he?
He's continuing to.
That was another moment.
It's like he may have something more going on with that truck.
Just a crazy block right there. It looks like maybe damage in the right front of Ross's truck. Maybe got a tire.
Honeyman's truck continuing to smoke. As we got a problem in turn number 2. Trouble in the second corner. One truck went around towards the back of the pack, and it's the number 76, Spencer Boyd. And I believe that all got started with whatever was going on with Ross Chastain. After that back straightaway contact, looks like maybe, and we see right there, a tire down, appears to be the right front tire, and you saw him kind of backing up off of turn 4 just a little bit, and that continued all the way down into turns 1 and 2, and I think we're going to see that may be what ultimately caused Spencer Boyd to go around.
And that was just a result of contact with the big block from Honeyman and into Ross's right front.
What a save by Ross, though, as well. I mean, he had his hands full, and the further down to the bottom you get, the rougher that track is.
You can see back there, I think Spencer let off due to the mess. Maybe Ricky Muniz behind him didn't see.
Yeah, Ross was just in front of him at that point right there, kind of held up in the middle of the racetrack, and it's just reactionary for all these guys. This is on the backstretch right here, the original contact, and you see where that right front, and man, that's plenty of contact to cut that tire down. And look at the truck up and down, Michael. It's so rough down there, and he's still wheeling it.
Leaving black marks at 175 miles an hour. As you see the damage to the right front, he's already bent up the left front. He's not out of this thing, though, Regan. He's going to come in, get these tires changed, pull that fender out, be a part of this battle again.
And anytime Ross has got 4 tires on a vehicle, I don't ever think that he's out of it, but that's right. He's still going to have the opportunity to fix it right here. And of course, an extra set of tires today because they didn't get practice and qualifying in, so those carried over to the race. So he's still in a good spot for the end of this race as it'll come down to the final pit stop potentially. Ross going to come back in for some more attention. Mikey, you hinted at the damage on the left front. That happened at the start of the race. He's been managing that quite well. But evidently they want to take some more time to get this truck right. He did come down the pit lane when the pits were closed, so we'll have to restart the back of the pack anyway.
Well, they're going to work on that right front fender. But also, this is interesting. He's on pit road. He's getting service. They filled it up with gas. Can he make it to 12 o'clock? I mean, could there be a strategy play here as well?
I can assure you that once the team gets done repairing this truck and they get an opportunity to figure out where everything lines up, they are thinking that same thing at some point here, Michael. And you know, enough fuel to make it to the full 65 laps right here, but 12 o'clock at the pace that we're going could be definitely something to keep an eye on here.
I've gotten to the point in life where I rarely make it to 12 o'clock anymore, but
Yeah.
Different 12 o'clock, Michael. Different 12 o'clock.
These guys are going to try to race to 12 o'clock. It'll be interesting for me to see who brings it down here. We've had this happen all race long, differing strategies. These cats at the front of the field are continuing to stay out. Last pitted on lap 50. No takers, huh?
Looks like Leland Honeyman is going to be one of the trucks to come down the pit lane to address the damage on the left rear. So Gio Ruggiero and Connor Zilich out in front of the field with 64 scheduled laps to go.
We're going to go through the full field running order then as we are under caution early in stage number 3. Another yellow after a short green flag run of just a couple of laps. Gio Ruggiero out in front with Connor Zilich at second, Grant Enfinger third, William Sawalch fourth, and Christian Eckes in fifth. Sixth is Tanner Gray, seventh Brandon Jones, Lane Riggs in eighth, Shane Van Gisbergen in ninth, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. rounding out the top 10. Daniel Hemrick in 11th, Ben Rhodes 12th, Caden Honeycutt 13th, Stuart Friesen 14th, Chris Wright in 15th. 16th is Jake Garcia with Chandler Smith 17th, Justin Haley 18th, Corey LaJoy 19th, and Connor Jones 20th. 21st, Travis Pastrana, Timmy Hill 22nd, Cole Butcher 23rd, Andres Perez 24th, Frankie Muniz 25th. 26th, Leland Honeyman, Tyler Ankrum 27th, Brendan Queen 28th, Dawson Sutt 29th, and Josh Reumann 30th. 31st, Ross Chastain after just pitting with contact on the last restart with the 62 of Leland Honeyman. Spencer Boyd went for a spin. He brought out the last caution. He's 32nd. Minnie Tyrell out of the race in 33rd. Same for Corey Day, 34th. Luke Baldwin, 35th. And Ty Majeski, 36th. 4 trucks off track, out of the race. 32 in the race, all on the lead lap. 7 cautions, 10 lead changes, 34 out of 71 laps under caution. About a 50% clip there, which has definitely plagued the length of this race and allowing for time to become more and more of a factor as we get closer to noon Eastern. Lights are out on the pace car. We will be going green this time by, as we have about 63 laps to go with where we're at now, so 62 to go on the next restart. Gio Ruggiero amongst those that stayed out of the pits during that last caution. Christian Eckes on slightly fresher tires. Fast truck, top 2 all day. First at the end of stage 1, second at the end of stage 2. Got back up to 5th after restarting in 10th. On the restart prior, we were only green for about 2 laps, if that, before the Spencer Boyd spin in turns 3 and 4, bringing out this last caution. Yeah, it's one of those truck races today. We haven't seen a lot of truck races with cautions this season. We've seen a few of the O'Reilly races bring out quite a few yellows because of crashes, but we haven't seen that in the trucks as much this year compared to maybe some years past. But today is one of those races. Maybe sitting for 2 extra days might have something to do with that.
To the North Carolina Education Lottery 200, where Gio Ruggiero, the leader, elected to stay out. Let's listen to why.
We're still way out our window to think. So we run folded.
The longest green flag run we've had today, laps, and we're coming to 62 to go, with Gio leading us back down and Connor Zilich to the outside. Boy, these restarts are aggressive.
Look at Honeycutt right up the middle. Ooh,
Eckes and Sawalich bouncing off each other as the pushing and shoving continues 2 rows behind them.
this is crazy. Tanner Gray coming to the party in that 15 truck. Hadn't mentioned his name today.
SVG's on the call for the top side. Gonna slam it behind him to try to stop the truck that was trying to follow through. It's Hemrick at 19.
Ricky Stenhouse up the middle.
Just a big guys want to be free by the middle to see. And I'm trying to make and you know, Lane Riggs is trying to make that happen to get off the turn 2, as we see Daniel Hemrick with a nice move down the back straightaway.
You know, when you make that shallow entry, the corner just makes it so hard to get that truck to stay on the bottom, and you wind up 3 wide like we saw behind those 4 leaders here.
Oh, that was Hemrick squeezed into the Riggs and child. Traffic's as wide as it is, right from the top to the bottom. Guys can have confidence whatever lane they're running in. And really allows you to make some of those even more aggressive moves. And prime example right here, you got one riding the wall, one on the line. And kudos to SVG. Let's not forget, he spun very early in this race. They had to put off strategy just a little bit, but adapting to a truck here on an intermediate racetrack, something he's not done very much of. And you see him still trying to hold on to this spot from Hendrick to crack the top 5. No surprise with Shane Van Gisbergen, just the amount of talent that he has. And, you know, when it comes to a race like this where these trucks are bouncing around, where there's different multiple lanes and lots to figure out, just that he was going to find a way somehow, and he's done a nice job all day.
Well, this is going to help tonight in the 600 too. Making laps, running up next to that outside wall, just learning different grooves. This is the track, obviously, that they'll race on tonight. The conditions are going to be a lot like it will be tonight.
He's got a great run off turn 2 to hold on to that spot. Let's go down to Amanda for an update on Grant Enfinger.
Yeah, terrible restart for Grant Enfinger. He was in the 3rd position after those restart cautions. Guys, back to you, Eric.
Has problems for Leland Honeyman Jr. off of turn number 2. That's been the trouble spot. He did pit on that last caution to repair some of the damage sustained after he and Ross Chastain bounced off one another. And it appears as though he's got some more issues on that left side.
I think he's gone for a spin. You can see the left front is flat.
I'm not sure if the left front flat caused the damage and caused him to spin, or which came first or second here.
Well, heck, we don't even know if he's spun yet or not, but I'm assuming he did with all the action we've seen today. Oh.
Trying to dodge another one.
He's had a mirror or a windshield full today, hasn't he?
And it's Paul Butcher on the outside, and just these trucks, when you get side by side in the wrong situation like that, and you're trying to turn to the left to stay off the truck on your outside, and they get on your door, it'll feel like it's just spinning right around, like you don't even do anything, and it spins around. And that hard driver's side door contact. It's the second one of those we've seen today.
Listen, his day.
Good job by Frankie Muniz as well on the 33 to dodge the spinning 62 of Honeyman as he came off the second turn. So, yet another short stretch of green flag racing. We still have not gone more than 12 consecutive green flags. It's been a treacherous.
That's comical.
This morning.
The three of us have.
Longest green flag run is 12 laps in an hour and 22 minutes. Oh my god.
Way they drive 3-1.
Any issues? No, and pulling right. Pulling is breeding these cautions that we're seeing. I want to go back to the previous caution. Ross Chastain hits pit road, gets a full load of fuel. We heard Gio Rogero's team talking about the fact that they thought they were 5 to 10 laps short, depending on what happened with the 12 o'clock rule. And as we look at Ross Chastain, all of a sudden that decision for fuel as we run more laps under caution here looks like it may work out, and you see right here.
I think so. Honestly, I don't. Or yes, we get. I just don't think we're going to make it to noon without
enough gas here.
finishing the race.
And you got to come take it.
I don't think we're going to finish this thing anymore. I was confident if we got green flag racing in the final stage we would, but we haven't.
Crews are on to service that truck, see if they can pretend to lead in what will be 55 to go at the line. But again, we're coming up in about 30 minutes to that adverse conditions rule, which would get us to the point where the race would end prematurely mid-schedule distance. It's going to be close. So if it's going to be open this time, Gio Ruggiero will likely be the first truck to lead us down. Eckes, one of the stage winners, just behind him. Brandon Jones, your top three. And here they come, Amanda.
Yeah, Brandon Jones started this race in the 5th position, comes in here 3rd. Jeremy Donnelly, the crew chief, on his feet, getting this team ready for what might be the last stop of this race. Brandon Jones, a self-described KB nerd race for Kyle Busch. They're going to tighten this, but he wants to keep it up with the track, Josh.
Gio Ruggiero said he's just a little bit greedy in 1 and 2. It'll be 4 times and fuel for him. For the 91 of Christian Eckes, that truck just a little bit tight. Otherwise, they've been pretty happy with it. Some adjustments going in. It'll be 4 tires and fuel for 91.
This whole race, the strategy has been across the board, and this stop, no different. We'll hit the refresh button, gather the data and details, and deliver it all to you in what may be the final stretch run of the finish here at Charlotte.
All right, here we go. Under a commercial break, and I do think that this is definitely going to play into an interesting hand as to who is going to go on to win this race here today. Going to be very, very interesting. Gio Ruggiero is our current race leader under caution with Christian Eckes in 2nd, Connor Zilic 3rd, Tyler Ankerman 4th, and Caden Honeycutt rounding out the top 5 in 5th. Shane Van Gisbergen in 6th, Dawson Sutton 7th. Justin Haley is in 8th place. 9th is Chandler Smith, and 10th, Christian Eckes. So Eckes falling down a bit on the leaderboard. Actually, I'm going to wait to go through the leaderboard just for another lap of caution to go through first. Want to make sure that everything I'm reading off is correct before I give you guys false information. Interesting play today. We're down to 28 minutes left on the clock into getting this race in. So 28 minutes. Can we get there?
On to the final spot in the chase standings. 10 is the leader. What's their thought process? Let's listen.
We have 3 green flag left on our tire.
Time-wise, that they're leading to is the 12 o'clock hour, which we're only about 27 minutes away, which would get us to a premature end of this race and exclude the opportunity for overtime with 52 scheduled laps to go.
And let me dissect what Mark Hillman was just trying to do. Was just telling his driver, Tyler Ankrum, drive it like you stole it, was what he was trying to comprehend to him right there. They've made their bet. He's right about that. And, what you tell a driver, 3 green flag laps on your tire, you tell him that because you want to make sure that he's giving it, everything and not worried about any of that stuff.
And the fastest truck today so far, Lane Riggs, is right behind Hank, so you can expect a great push. It'll be important to do a great block to make sure he doesn't get put 3 wide. Dawson Sutton up on the front row. He's had some issues all day long, but no surprise he's on the front row because this lineup has been flipped from one end to the other all day long.
So the top 2 trucks stayed out. Most of the trucks that pitted elected to top off. The leader at the time of the caution, Gio Ricciardo.
All right, headed for the next restart. We have a little over 50 laps still to go in this race. About 52 left on the restart. Green flag going to be back in the air, and we are officially 25 minutes from noon Eastern, which would be the final lap of today's race. Tyler Ankrum is the new leader of this one with Lane Riggs in second, trying to slip to the outside on the restart. Riggs, the winner of stage 2, trying to get back to the point. And Ross Chastain, who had damage after contact in the middle of the pack and a restart earlier in this final stage, is all the way up to second in the 45. Don't count Chastain out of it yet. You just wonder what kind of damage does he have to his race truck. Can he continue on strongly? Down to the bottom of the track, trying to break the draft. Even on the front stretch is Lane Riggs, which we haven't seen that on the front stretch as much as the back straightaway when either Riggs or Eckes has been the leader. Chastain's got another big run at it. Our leaderboard is showing Ankrum as the leader right now. That is not correct at the moment. Tyler Ankrum a little bit outside the top 5, so let me refresh the page. Apologize for that. I think the raw feed might be... There we go. Now the raw feed's back up and running to its accurate state with about 50 laps to go with Riggs in the lead. Riggs trying to put some distance on himself. And Ross Chastain, though, Christian Eckes, who has been probably the strongest competitor to that of Lane Riggs today, now challenging for second to the inside of the 45 Nice Motorsports Chevrolet. Off turn 4, Christian Eckes with a nose out in front at the start-finish line, trying to hold on for second. Chastain leads on the high side. Should get a run up out of turn 2. We'll see if he tries a crossover move. He got a little loose, though, as soon as that 91 pulled up in front of him off the exit of turn 2. I think he lost the nose and made a slight overcorrection trying to keep the car turned that the back of the car almost came around on him. A little twitch costed him any sort of a shot of trying to get a crossover move. And Chastain continues to lose positions. So the two strongest trucks in the field today are now sitting 1-2 late in this race. 48 laps to go, 23 minutes, whatever we get to first. Riggs our leader. And Eckes is closing because that last lap, Eckes was about 0.04 of a second faster than Riggs. And when you're within a half a second, that's quite a margin. And a crash on the front stretch. Now another caution's going to come, and it's going to be Brendan Queen and the 81 collected. Looks like Queen might have T-boned the 81 truck who came up the racetrack before both collected into the outside wall. Chris Wright and Queen were running in the 21st place position, or a battle for such, at the time of the incident. So here we are with another caution late. 47 laps to go. With just 22 minutes, it's just not going to happen. We're not going to make it. I mean, mathematically at this point, we're not going to make it. Even if it was green, we'd probably have in the ballpark between like 3 to 6 laps to go. And by the time we get this cleaned up and go back racing again, we're probably going to have about 40 laps left. And this is going to take another 5 to 10 minutes to get this cleaned up. So these competitors are running out of laps and running out fast.
Here. Worse for Travis today. He's seen all of them and he's missed all of them.
Let's see if we can figure out what happened here.
So they're not clear.
Here, he said clear, but as a driver, you know, we lean on the spotters. We need the spotters. But there's situational awareness as well that you have to understand what's going on. It's just a wide move.
And Michael, you can see on this shot we're showing right now, the mirror right in the center of the cab of that truck. It's a big curved mirror. And it shows you from the driver's side door where you get in and out to the passenger side door where you get in and out. The way those curves are, you can definitely have references to that. And, you know, just even if he thought he heard clear and it was there, whatever the situation was, he kind of thought maybe he would know that truck was still out there in that moment. And speaking of the spotters, and talking to Brendan Butterbean Queen on Friday, he works with Derek Nealon, who, of course, was a longtime spotter for Kyle Busch. In fact, Butterbean said it was around this time of year last year that him and Kyle went up to watch Derek race one of his late model events. He said it was pretty much him and Kyle the whole ride up to Maine, one of the best times he's ever had at a racetrack. Their friendship developed there, and he was hoping to have a good run with Derek today in honor of Kyle, but unfortunately, it looks like with the window net coming down, his race is going to end early. Just amazing the amount of stories through this garage area and people that
He's got some damage. Look at that right front fender. It's a mess. You know, let's just update Connor Zilic. We talked about his restart violation. He was there, and I said he was hoping for a quick caution. He got what he wanted. We thought we might see. He was able to come down, serve his penalty. So, got 45 laps to go. Anything can happen in this race, as we've seen. That's a dejected Butterbean, giving his guys a pat on the back for all the work.
Butterbean have been on a pretty good charge so far in terms of the championship standings. Just 10 points out of the top 10, needed to be above that cut line with 9 races to go in the regular season. As we look at the number 77 of Zilic, who, yes, he's going to have to fall to the tail, but at least he is able to stay on the lead lap by virtue of catching this yellow.
A lot of trucks coming to pit road again to make sure they got plenty of fuel. Maybe a small adjustment. See there, the 77 is Zilic, just behind Spencer Boyd, who had some issues earlier. Boyd has remained on the lead lap despite that. Tanner Gray, we saw him charge up into the top 5. What a day. What a day, Eric.
It has been madness here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Well worth the day and a half wait for a race that was supposed to run on Friday night and then got pushed off here to early Sunday morning on the biggest day of motorsports. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. The racing for the lead all day has been incredible, and it was Christian Eckes who took stage one. And the battle with Christian Eckes and Lane Riggs was fun, and Luke Baldwin we see right here. Engine expires and ends up with flames for Luke Baldwin all the way down into turns 1 and 2. And later on, a scary crash from the pole sitter Corey Day as the truck gets wheels off the ground. It's the inside wall, collecting Vinny Tyrell and a couple of others as he came back up in front of the pack. The battle for the lead and win in stage 2 was as intense as the racing has been pretty much all day long, and it was Lane Riggs who captured stage 2. Last time he did that same heat, went on to win the race there. And then Ross Chastain getting off-road.
Just spinning those tires, sliding those tires down the back straightaway, wide open. I guarantee his foot never came off of it.
And a most recent caution, our 9th on the day. Some miscommunication between Chris Wright and his spotter, capturing Butterbean with both cars coming to rest just past the start-finish line. We've had a lot of cautions. We've had a lot of leaders. What an insane race.
We've had a lot of action. We've had a lot of crashes. We've seen it all.
And it's one of those races you just don't know where to watch. There's so much going on that's taking your eye, and the back and forth when these guys get 3 wide on the restarts and the moves that they're able to make even after they get single file running top to bottom. It just the more you could ask for in a race. This is the kind of race that definitely keeps you on your toes. And while it's struggled to get a little bit of a rhythm, as we like to call it, to where guys can really find out what their truck does on the long run, it has been extraordinarily exciting.
You know, we talk about the 12 p.m. adverse conditions clock. I'm going to call it adverse conditions for a different reason. The way they're driving.
Yeah.
That's what's pushing us toward this 12 o'clock deadline we're having.
Well, as we find ourselves with 42 to go at the line, both of our stage winners are at the front of the field for an update on our stage 1 winner, Christian Eckes. Here's Josh.
Yeah, and we talk about Christian Eckes and the struggles he's had this season to have a dominant truck. Well, we're seeing him have one of those dominant runs. And remember, Christian Eckes is a guy that drove for Kyle Busch Motorsports back in the day. And when I talked to him about it the other day, he told me he wouldn't be where he is in his career if it weren't for KB. When he was driving for his team, he said, I used to talk each and every day. They built a great relationship. He is one of those guys in the field that would love to get a win in honor of Kyle Busch.
Thanks, Josh. And just behind Eckes on the outside, another driver who drove for Kyle Busch in Chandler Smith. And as the sand starts to run out in the hourglass here, we'll remind you, 12 o'clock. If we get to that point before the finish of the advertised distance of this race, looking more and more likely, once the leader crosses the line after the 12 o'clock hour, the white flag will be displayed next time by. No chance at overtime. Josh mentioned the drivers that Kyle's had an impact on, and either directly or indirectly. We were just, talking about Butterbean a moment ago and the impact that Kyle had on him, and we're going to be feeling that for years to come in terms of, Kyle's, what he's done for this sport, from the top to bottom, Cup Series truck, O'Reilly, everything. And this restart, this is about to be fun. We got some really good trucks right here that are going to battle. So it's going to be Lane Riggs, the control truck on the inside of the 34, Christian Eckes outside in the 91, then Ross Chastain and Chandler Smith, row 2, Daniel Hemrick, Caden Honeycutt, row 3. 41 laps to go as we race to noon here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Here we go.
And green flag back in the air. 14 minutes to go to race until that noon time. And again, as soon as 12 o'clock p.m. or a.m., I should say, hits, then the next flag would be the white flag, and that would end the race. If it's under caution, the race will end under yellow because there would be no overtime in effect there. Lane Riggs gets the jump on the restart out in front of Christian Eckes, a guy who has been hounding him for every step of this race so far today. Although we've seen Riggs lead more laps in the back half of the race than the front half, both of them are still very much in contention, and this should be an interesting watch the rest of the way. So Eckes leads, Lane Riggs in second, Caden Honeycutt third, Chandler Smith fourth, Ross Chastain rounds out the top 5 and fifth immediately following the restart. Tyler Ankrum sixth, Stuart Friesen seventh, Ben Rhodes eighth, Jake Garcia ninth, and Daniel Hemrick rounding out the top 10. Andres Perez in 11th, Corey LaJoie 12th, Timmy Hill in 13th, 14th Brandon Jones, and William Sawalich 15th. 16th is Gio Ruggiero, Connor Zilic 17th, Grant Enfinger 18th, 19th is Dawson Sutton, and Shane Van Gisbergen in 20th. 21st, Travis Pastrana, Justin Haley 22nd, Tanner Gray 23rd, 24th, Cole Butcher, and Frankie Muniz 25th. 26th place, Connor Jones, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 27th, Leland Honeyman 28th, and Spencer Boyd last truck in the lead lap at 29th. Josh Reaume 30th, 2 laps down. Chris Wright out of the race along with Brendan Queen after that last crash. They're 31st, 32nd. Minnie Tyrell 33rd. Corey Day 34th. Ty Majeski back on track in 35th as he picked up a spot on Luke Baldwin, who is now 36th out of the race. All right. Clock is down to just under 12 and a half minutes. Battle up at the front of the pack. Top 3 under a blanket. Riggs, Eckes, Honeycutt, Chandler Smith still about a half a second back and forth. He's not out of it yet either. And all of those top 4 right now in the running order are in the top 6 in the point standings as well. So they have been amongst the top competitors of full-time Truck Series regulars so far in 2026. Maybe not a surprise that of the 4, they're up here. And we've got a spin on the front stretch. Stuart Friesen is around in the AstroTurf down on the bottom of the racetrack. He slides towards pit road. We do stay green as he's out of the way, and he's going to pull into his pit box here, actually. So very green, I guess, with the spin being well out of the racetrack and the fact that he ended up about in his pit box. Lucky enough that we do not get a caution. Riggs' gap right now, just a couple car lengths, truck lengths, I should say. This is the Truck Series over Christian Eckes. Friesen looked like he just lost it. He was on the outside lane, up out of turn 4. Transition from the banking in the corners to the flat of that front stretch, and truck slipped out from underneath him. There's quite a bit of bumps on that end of the track at 3 and 4 as well. Now we do have a spin in traffic. It's the 44 of Andres Perez, and this will bring out a caution off turn 2 down the back straightaway. So still the longest green flag run of the race is only 12 laps all the way back at stage 1 between the first and second cautions. And with that being said, caution with just 11 minutes to go on the clock is going to be interesting. It was a lazy spin in the sense that there was no other trucks collected. And not a lot of damage from this as Perez, for the most part, kept it off the wall, both the inside and outside wall. So good on him to make the save from that point. And good on the rest of the field missing the spinning 44 truck. I believe we're going to get another restart in here before noon. And NASCAR is going to do the best they can to try to open pit road up and get everything situated here shortly. So live commentary coverage for the Indianapolis 500 is going to be in a little less than an hour from now, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Again, a reminder, they are our next live commentary stream. It's the only IndyCar race we do on the channel every year. This will be the 3rd consecutive year of live commentary for the Indy 500. Again, that will be at the bottom of the next hour, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. This race will end at noon, no matter what. So this race will be over before the start of the Indy 500. We are not going to make it to the scheduled distance finish as we still have about 34 laps to go under caution. We're not going to get that done in the next 9 minutes. Noon Eastern, we're going to see the white flag and then the checkered. We're going to be pretty much guaranteed one more restart. We're going to get green again. Not going to see anybody at the top portion of the field come into the pits, I would imagine. They're going to stay out, keep their track position, and really go for this. Top 10 in the running order at the time of the caution. Lane Riggs leads, Christian Eckes second, Caden Honeycutt third. Fourth place, Chandler Smith, Ross Chastain in 5th. Ben Rhodes is 6th. Daniel Hemrick 7th, Connor Zilic 8th, Corey LaJoie 9th, Gio Ruggiero rounds out the top 10. 8.5 minutes to go. Riggs trying to go for his second win of the season. He has not won an oval this year. He actually won that street race back in St. Petersburg, third race of the season. Been in contention for a lot of oval race wins this year, just hasn't gotten it yet. He's been a great short track racer in the first 2 full-time seasons he's had in trucks, this year 3, and looking to win on some of these bigger ovals now. Here's Riggs' crew chief.
Everything we got to hold these guys off, but thank you to Charlotte, UNC Charlotte, 49ers Nation, and we're going to try and get him in victory lane here.
Why Lane Riggs?
He's the best to do it, you know. He's super aggressive in these situations, and I trust him 100%, so we're going to go get it done.
Good luck.
Thank you.
University of Charlotte paint scheme, a local scheme for Lane Riggs this weekend, trying to take the 49ers to victory lane here this morning. Eckes has not been able to hold up with Lane Riggs on these last couple of restarts despite being on the front row, but has he learned something over the last couple of restarts to try to do the best he can to stay side by side with the 34? Riggs has just been great on restarts all day today. Even when he hasn't been in the front row, he has had some really solid runs going for himself. So down under 7 minutes left on the clock. Racing against time here. This is going to be 2 races this weekend between O'Reilly and Trucks that we're not going to see the advertised distance, as we are going to be short of it. Range shortened and then time constraints shortened today with the busy racing schedule of course, still having the Indy 500 and Coke 600s later. If the Indy 500 was not on Fox, I don't think that this would be an issue. I think we would just run to the finish. But with the Indy 500 being on Fox, and they know that there's going to be some viewers watching this race that are going to watch that race, they don't want that impeding their coverage there. So that's unfortunate the way that worked out, but not going to be able to see the full race today. 10 cautions in just over 100 laps. That has been busy. I would not be surprised if we see another here before the finish. Well, technically, the race is going to end under caution because we're not going to get to the finish of the race. I guess no matter what, we're going to be guaranteed one more yellow. They just got the one to go signal this time. Riggs will be on the inside of row 1 for the next restart. Again, outside of row 1 will be Christian Eckes once more. Indy 500, again, bottom of the next hour. Will be live at 12:30 Eastern. Drop of the green flag will be about 15 minutes or so after that. Biggest race in motorsports, the 110th running of which in 2026. They called it the Craftsman 9 to go. Oh my gosh. Because they couldn't get to 20 to go, so they still had to throw that Craftsman sponsorship in there that they did it with 9 minutes left. In typical NASCAR broadcast fashion, I guess he had to get a sponsorship in there. Yeah, we're going to have a little less than 5 minutes left on the clock. That's going to be anywhere in the ballpark between 9 to 10 laps. We're going to see here if we do stay green. If we catch a caution, that's going to be it. We're not going to be able to get another restart in. This last caution came out with 11 minutes left, and it was a single car spin. Took about 6 to 7 minutes, and here we go. Pace car pulls to pit road. Final restart here at Charlotte. Lane Riggs versus Christian Eckes. Can Caden Honeycutt sneak in there, get his first oval win? He's on the outside of road 2. He's been strong here this morning. Green flag back in the air. Great restart by Eckes. Maybe his best on the front row yet. But Riggs is getting a fantastic push by his teammate Chandler Smith on the bottom. And the front row Motorsport Fords are going to work together. And they're going to be 1-2 out in front of the field as they exit turn 2. Eckes trying to keep from losing any more positions as he's got Honeycutt to his outside. Split 3 wide with another truck underneath him. That's Connor Zilic in the 77. What a terrible restart for Eckes. It looked like he got through the gears really well, but then something happened in turn 1 and 2. He could not keep momentum up, and he falls out of the top 5. Riggs has a fantastic lead over his teammate Chandler Smith, who actually just lost second off turn 4. Off camera, Caden Honeycutt takes away second place. And that was a very fast pass he had to make on the front row Ford in the 38 to give himself any kind of a chance to run down Riggs. So it's the top two in the point standings in the Craftsman Truck Series battling 1 and 2 at the front of the field with a few minutes remaining. And Honeycutt has closed that gap some on Lane Riggs, the first full lap he's been in second. Connor Zilic in the 77 trying to battle to the outside of Chandler Smith into turns 1 and 2. Smith is going to try to slide up in front of him. Smith is sideways. On turn 2, he's going to spin down towards the inside wall. He hits head on. Caution flag is going to have to wave for this. And it's going to be Lane Riggs winning at Charlotte. We only have about 3 minutes left. It's not going to happen. Could have figured this was going to end under an incident, and it's one Front Row Motorsports spinning, causing the other one to hang on to get the win, and Hayden Honeycutt going to run out of time. And unfortunately for Smith, who was battling for third, obviously going to finish well outside of the top 5. With the cars that we still had on the lead lap, 28 trucks on the lead lap, he's going to finish. He's rolling back. He can probably finish 28 still. I don't know how that car's still rolling, but it is. Front bumper crunched. Makes it into the pits. Friesen and Ryum, who are a lap down, may get by him. Even if he's leaking fluid on the racetrack, I don't think NASCAR is going to like that because they're going to have to clean the track up regardless. So they probably want him to get to pit road. I was going to say, though, with only a couple minutes left, having to ride under caution, basically. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be it. They're not going to get another restart in here before noon, so. They got some cleanup. They might as well just give them the white flag this time by, honestly. I mean, what's the point of riding under caution another lap or two before they give them the white? Unofficial results to today's race. Lane Riggs, our race winner. Caden Honeycutt in second. Connor Zilic third. Ben Rhodes fourth. Fifth, Gio Ruggiero. Christian Eckes in sixth. Seventh place for Brandon Jones. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. It looks like we've got some flip-flopping in the leaderboard here, so let me redo that again. Lane Riggs with the race win. Caden Honeycutt second. Margin of victory under caution. Connor Zilic third. Ben Rhodes fourth. Gio Ruggiero fifth. Christian Eckes in sixth, Brandon Jones seventh, then Tanner Gray eighth, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. ninth, and William Sawalich rounding out the top 10. Daniel Hemrick falls to 11th, Corey LaJoie 12th, Jake Garcia 13th, Connor Jones 14th, and Shane Van Gisbergen 15th. Grant Edfinger 16th, Timmy Hill 17th, Justin Haley 18th, Andres Perez 19th, and Tyler Ranker 20th. Dawson Sutt 21st, Travis Pastrana 22nd, Leland Honeyman 23rd, Frankie Muniz 24th, and Spencer Boyd 25th. 26, Cole Butcher, Ross Chastain 27, Chandler Smith 28th, Stuart Friesen 29th, and Josh Ryum 30th, Chris Wright 31st, 32nd for Brennan Queen, Ty Majeski 33rd, Minnie Tyrell 34th, Corey Day 35th, Luke Baldwin 36th, rounding out the field. Now, Ross Chastain looks to have ran out of gas. No wonder the leaderboard changed up inside the top 10 for that short bit. That's because Chastain ran out of fuel. Remember, he was trying to stretch it all the way to the end from when he had an incident. Couldn't quite make it to noon, unfortunately. I guess that's why we have to run it to noon as the advertised distance, because of that right there. Chastain out of gas. We're at noon Eastern right now, so it should be the white flag this time under caution. They said no overtime. Yep, white flag in the air, 1 lap to go, so that is going to do it. Lane Riggs with the win. No, they're not restarting. White flag that time by. Race going to end under caution because there's no overtime. No overtime, no caution. Lane Riggs got to get the win. Second win of the season for Lane, and a win means so much in NASCAR in 2026 with the points discrepancy between first and second. And this is going to go a long ways for Lane into catching up on Caden Honeycutt. When he came into the race today, 38 points back. 15 additional points for winning versus finishing second. I should say 20 points, the difference between the two positions, because you get 35 points for finishing second, you get 55 for the win. It's a 20-point difference, that alone. Riggs outscored Honeycutt in stage points today as well. He had a stage win, a top 5 in stage 1. Honeycutt, top 5 in both stages, but not quite to the length of Riggs, and Riggs is going to be less than 20 points out now. We'll get an interview with Lane Riggs before we end the stream. He's obviously still on the track under caution right now. He's going to come to get the checkered flag this time by, and then they'll circuit back into the pits, so it's going to be a little bit here, but Lane Riggs, our race winner.
Grew up watching Richard Petty, and Kyle Busch is the same for these kids that are here now, watching Kyle Busch dominate and do the things that he did.
Michael, there's not a driver in this field. There's not a driver in motorsports that in some way didn't impact them in some shape or form. And you could hear that right there in Lane Riggs' voice and the emotion. And, just such a special driver and such a special individual.
That's the two guys of the 2026 season there in the Truck Series that have just been better than the rest most all year long. Lane and Caden. And they're going to go 1-2 today.
As he comes to the line on an emotional weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Lane Riggs is going to win his second race of 2026, 7th of his career, and he did it for Kyle. Ninth different winner in the last 9 races at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. 15th different driver to win at Charlotte. And for Lane Riggs from nearby Bahama, North Carolina, able to give this team a chance to celebrate. Busch back. With them. Shot by his team there to honor Kyle Busch as well, as we saw the video of all the pals earlier in the day, and wow.
Imagine this is the biggest win of this young man's life, being able to win here at his home track with his alma mater on the side of the truck and doing it for Kyle. This is a lot. This is a lot that I guarantee you Lane is inside of that truck trying to process right now.
Lane also becomes the 3rd driver with multiple wins this season. The other 2, defending champion Brandon Kyle Busch.
Stats today. That's when it all mattered. He's going to get to think about.
Only has to drive about 2 hours to get back home to Bahama, North Carolina, where he started off his racing career. Continuing to follow in the footsteps of his father, Scott. Still had much success in the Truck Series. This is now his 3rd consecutive year in trucks, with a multiple win season for Lane Riggs.
The other guys up inside that top 5 of them days they really needed. Ben Rhodes, Ford, Giro, we saw some strategy for him. He was able to get a top 5.
Zilch had the finish third, had the penalty. What was it? 10 laps ago, it seemed like. Well, the Front Row Motorsports crew, who helped propel Lane to victory, is there to meet him on the front stretch victory lane in front of the fans who've come out to Charlotte on this early morning change of schedule. Now, what has been a very tough day for the NASCAR community, tough few days for the NASCAR community, Lane Briggs and company will have something to celebrate.
Yeah. Lane Riggs gets the win here at Charlotte. Gets a chance to celebrate with the team, and of course, we saw him do the Kyle Busch signature bow as he honored one of the NASCAR legends we lost a couple of days ago, and you can see the emotion on Lane's face. Lane, we heard you come over the radio and say this one is for Kyle. You do the signature bow. The expressions are all over your face. Can you tell me why this one means so much?
I would be proud of that performance. Just the hearts are really heavy this weekend. Just been kind of struggling with it a little bit, and just trying to have my game face on and right. But these guys do nothing but put a smile on my face. Great job to everybody in Front Row Motorsports. Thank you so much to my teammate Chandler Smith. We little teammate restart there, and he stuck with me and pushed me. So super proud of him and the strong performance we had today. This is a track that FRM and the 34 and 38 have struggled at for years. Always been like a 10th place truck, and we really got to it on the Ford Racing Simulator. Shout out to Ford Racing. Everything y'all do for us. And we went to work, we got it done. So, yeah, brand new truck, debut 1 for 1. Really proud of that. So just thinking about the whole family right now. Had UNC Charlotte on the truck right down the road. Go Niners. Put Niners in victory lane. I'm so proud of that. So the golden numbers. So thank you to everybody at UNC Charlotte. Man, what a win. I hate that we didn't get to finish all the laps, but I feel like we put on a heck of a race. Hopefully all these fans right here are really happy. Thank you to everybody that's here and your support. Love you guys.
Lane Riggs, your winner at Charlotte.
All right, congratulations to Lane Riggs, race winner of today's North Carolina Education Lottery 200 at Charlotte. We're going to step aside. We've got about 20 minutes before the start of our Indianapolis 500 stream today. Be sure to tune in for that one in a little bit. And that will be the next live stream here on this Memorial Day Sunday, Memorial Day weekend, the biggest day in motorsports, especially American motorsports here this afternoon. Hope to see you for that one. Thanks for watching the Truck Series race, both this stream and the one Friday night when we were waiting out the rain delay. Again, hope to see you later on.